Right now, there's a whole lot of buzz around the future of work, the fourth industrial revolution, the kind of jobs that will stand the test of time, the kind of jobs technology is going to take out, and all of those kind of things. Right? But I don't know how many of us were aware of the first or the second or the third revolution, because I don't think I had any idea of what any of those guys were. I only came in and I met there's a third revolution we're in, and now there's a new fourth revolution that everybody is going into. So I don't think I heard about the previous three. So come on, I think I'll be more interested in wanting to be a part of the fourth one, so at least I can share my in the future, right? But like I said, we're going to be discussing design thinking this morning, and our design thinking is going to be tailored to data scientists. Our thinking is going to be tailored to data scientists. It's going to be tailored to AI engineers, right? Because design thinking as a whole is a very broad process. Every field, regardless of whatever it is you find yourself doing, you have to take the approach of design thinking. But this morning, we're going to be tailoring our own approach down to our field of study, which is the data and the AI sector. Please, if at any point in time you're not hearing me, somebody can unmute their mic and let me know as I go on. Thank you. So I'm going to go straight to this. What is design thinking, right? So the general idea behind the process of design thinking, it's more of the process of creative problem solving. Now, there are two things we are going to look at here: process and creative. Right? The whole design thinking experience is not. The whole design thinking experience is not. I see some chats coming in. I see some chats coming in. The whole design thinking process.
Hello, Bumi.
I see. Yes.
Hello, Bumi. I'll look at the charts on your behalf. Just go ahead with the presentations.
Okay. So the whole design thinking process design thinking is more of a process. It's not a one-time thing. It's not a fixed thing. It's not some form of idea that you just go into the bank and work with it and that's all. It's a process. But another important fact of it is that it has to be creative, right? A lot of people will jump into processes of wanting to solve problems without having creative solutions to that problem. Now, another aspect of the fact is that it's repetitive. So in the sense that because you solved a particular problem, for instance, we're going to look at the popular loan default algorithm that every beginner data scientist at least should understand. Right? Now you go through the whole design thinking process and you come up with an ideology and an algorithm and everything. You put it out in the market. Most people believe because of that fact, they've done the whole process, they've understood the problem, and then they are done with that system. But that's not the fact. I stumbled upon a research of recent when I found out that a couple of organizations are still using algorithms that are dated back as far as 10, 20 years ago to run their systems. Now, I'm beginning to wonder, how do you work with algorithms as far as 10, 20 years ago? As much as technology has been present in that time, we still know, and I'm talking of the foreign countries now, not even Nigeria, because we know 10, 20 years ago, Nigeria, come on, I don't think we've gotten up to this point. But in foreign countries, you have brands still using algorithms of 10, 20 years ago. And I'm like, with the fact that innovations are happening every day, there are innovative solutions every day, how do people stick to one problem solving initiative and run with it for 10, 20 years? Well, I don't know, but the idea is that design thinking is repetitive. For a brand to grow, for a brand to stand, for a brand to withhold or withstand the test of time, regardless of whatever field you find yourself in. One thing you're supposed to learn how to do is to continue working on your process. You continue working on your problem-solving skills. You can't use the same outdated algorithm, the same problem skills you used 10 years ago to solve a problem to still do it now. Now, on my screen, you see Airbnb. Airbnb is a very popular company that we all know. They are known for bookings in terms of restaurants and all that. So I'm sure a lot of us know Airbnb. But now, most people do not know that Airbnb happened to come into the same design thinking process when they started. So when Airbnb started, right, they had people who had accommodations or empty rooms in their houses that they were not using. So the idea was that they opened a platform where if you have any empty space, upload pictures of it and put it up on the platform. And then people that are coming down to your location, people that are traveling down to your location and they do not have accommodation or the means to rent a hotel or something, they can go on Airbnb and book your house space, and then you get the rent for it. That's how Airbnb started. But then along the line, they noticed there's a particular location where people were not really booking. They were making about $200 a week on that location, and it was an issue for them. So they had to go through a design thinking process. Now, what did they do? They organized, the board and directors of Airbnb decided to go back to their system. And while going through their system, they noticed that all of the pictures that were uploaded from that region by individuals had very poor camera quality. Right? So if I'm coming to book a room and the pictures I'm seeing of that room is not clear enough, I don't really know what I'm booking. I don't really know what I'm going into. At that point, I don't think I want to book that room, because if you're giving me a room and what I'm seeing online is not looking pleasant enough, come on, why would I want to book that room from you? So when they noticed this, they decided to come up with an idea. They took the plane ticket and they flew all the way to that location, located every member or every person that had uploaded a picture of their house on their platform. And they used their own camera, they bought a camera, used their own camera to take better pictures of that accommodation, and they uploaded it. Now, within a week of doing that, they had double increase in sales. Within a week of just doing that, there was double increase in sales. Now, that's a process that they've learned. And because of that, they were able to constantly work on their system. And at the end of the day, today, Airbnb is $1 billion, is a unicorn, is a very big company. Right? So that's Airbnb story. Now, I'll jump straight into the design thinking process. Most of the articles you see is that there are 5 design thinking processes. Yes, that's the main one, 5. But then the 6th one is the part where they forget to tell you to do your implementation, to push out your design. So I'll start explaining each process one after the other. The first one is the empathy, right? Now, every data scientist is tasked with the responsibility of being a very empathic person, right? It's in the core of your business to make sure that you understand the problem from the point of view of the other person. So I was trying to work on something in the office the other day, and I was tasked with the responsibility of coming up with a program flow of how the product we're trying to build was going to look like. Now, I made one mistake, and the mistake was the fact that I started deciding, or I started implementing, or I started suggesting problems of other people to my bosses. I don't know if you understand what I mean. So I was given a task to carry out, and the first thing was for me to identify the loopholes, to identify where the problem is in the market. Now, instead of me to go through it the better way, I decided to start writing documents to send to the executives indicating how I feel this is one problem most people will be facing, this is another problem most people will be facing. At that point, I realized I was not empathic enough. Now, empathy is not seeing the problem from your own point of view. Empathy is seeing the problem from whoever you intend to solve this thing for. You see it from their own point of view. So as data scientists, a lot of us are eager to want to pick data. From data, you start exploring your data. From exploring your data, you start building models. All of these things, yes, they are good. But there's a saying that says a great AI and machine learning model with a poorly designed user experience is going to fail. A great AI and machine learning model with a poorly designed user experience is going to fail. A great AI and machine learning model with a poorly designed user experience is going to fail. I hope we all understand that. Now, if we're building algorithms, we're jumping on data sets that we see. Immediately you see data sets, a lot of us, it makes us very happy. Come on, let's build algorithms. Let's show that we understand logistic regression and all those extra and deep learning, and we're taking a whole lot of courses. So let's show what we're doing. And that's the problem. A lot of us are just jumping into this thing. Many of us, if you notice, for the few of us that are following me on LinkedIn, right, I try as much as possible to tie every data set that I work on to a solution that I'm solving. So I'm not just out pushing information about how I built a logistic regression model or information about how I built clustering. So as yesterday, I pushed out a little bit of article around the coronavirus. And the idea was ML engineers working together with doctors to build some form of application that uses clustering. Now, how it's going to work is the fact that you're getting the data sets of individuals, probably through your mobile app. Everybody plugged into your mobile app. You have their data set. They are putting in their features, what they are feeling at the moment.
Can anyone see Ebumi?
Not anymore.
Okay, not anymore. So let me send him a message. I think in this time, we will probably need at least 2 internet service providers. Let's just hold on for him. Let's see if he's back. He's still on the call, but we're not hearing him.
No, I think maybe he must have mistakenly muted his microphone.
So I don't think so. He's unmuted. I'm looking at, let's see. Okay, so it says he's joining back. Bumi says he's joining back. So everyone, so so in case you're just joining us, we're waiting for Bumi to join us. We lost him, so he's going to join us shortly. So please just be patient with us.
Hello, I'm sorry, my network cut me off. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, sorry about that. I was cut off by network. All right, so let me go on.
Yes, we can. Welcome back.
Sorry. So continuing from, so I was saying you find out that from all of these clusters, then you can then do some form of predictive analysis and see which people have the probability of getting it. And then government can work to people around those clusters and then do tests for them and probably start the whole quarantine and medications for them, right? But the idea is you should understand any project you're working on based on the point of view of the others, not based on your own ideologies. Now you find out that for you to get into a project, you have to complete on time, you have budgets, you have features that you need to set, you have to make sure your project is implementable and measurable. You have to frequently, with the right support, get available information from the audience, right? But then you find out that
Hello, we can no longer hear him.
And I can't hear him again. So I think, so while we wait for him, I don't, so basically I think what I would just ask every one of us is, how have you been coping with the network? So I've had a colleague try to make a presentation to the whole corporation, and just IPNX has been working with just some minutes to that meeting. The whole entire infrastructure, his IPNX stopped working. He had to move to his wife's Airtel. So I don't know if you all have been coping because it's gone off again.
Over here from my own end, I'll try using Wi-Fi.ng, and it's slow and it's not consistent. It fluctuates. Most I have to switch between networks and work.
Wow. It's interesting. So for me, I use MTN, I use Petranet. Only Wi-Fi.ng, when I installed them, the very week I installed them, they weren't working well for me. So I just disconnected from them completely.
Smile has been just okay.
They've been smiling at you or smiling on you. Which one?
It's been just okay. I mean, it has its own downsides, but overall,
So, but with
I don't
mine,
think
how's
I've
the
had
speed
as much.
like? How's the speed with mine?
No, it's
using-
not so bad actually. Moderate.
I'm using MTN
Moderate.
actually.
But me, when you are in, let us know.
I think he just joined.
This is interesting.
I think he has joined.
Okay. So now it's completely out. That's why we've lost his presentation. Maybe he's going to join again.
Sorry, the mistake on my own part.
He's back. He's back.
He's
back online.
That was a mistake on my part. I mistakenly turned off my mobile network.
Oh, okay. Turned off your mobile network, hoping that you won't get messages.
Yeah, my bad. I forgot I was connected. Yeah, so you have to understand that what exactly are you trying to solve, and even after finding out what you're trying to solve, understand why you're trying to solve that problem. Understand the pain points of the people you're trying to solve the problem for. You have to be empathic about the solution. You have to look beyond your own methodologies and understand from their own pain point what exactly is their issue. Now, after the whole empathic process, this is where defining comes in. Now, this is the process that a lot of data scientists jump into without going through the empathic part, because this is the process where you start finding out where your which exactly is your independent variables, your dependent variables, what are you trying to predict, what's your target variable, all of that. So I'm going to use the same loan algorithm again. This is the point where you now start saying, all right, so we are trying to predict people that will default on their loans based on all of these features that we are given, right? But you understand that before you want to define people's loan options, before you want to define if this person is going to pay back a loan or not, you are supposed to have understood from the point of view of the person. So people are defaulting in their loans. Now I'm trying to explain the empathy part of it again. People are defaulting in their loans, and you have these data sets. The first thing you're trying to do is, why are they defaulting? From the features you are given, what are these features trying to explain? And are these features relating to any of the reasons why they are defaulting? It even takes you to go, there was a project I was working on. I had to leave the office, took my bags and went to another office to sit down with somebody that had like in-house business experience around that field, just because I wanted to understand where and why they are doing these things, right? I wanted to understand what exactly is working in the market and why exactly is it working. That's the whole empathy process. But people jump all of that, and once they get data and the data set explains, I want you to predict this iris data set. I want you to predict loan default. I want you to predict, do a recommendation system and predict movies that people want to watch. All of these things. This is where people just jump into, right? But this is the define stage. Now, this is the stage where you've put together all the information you've created, all the information you've gathered during the empathy stage. This is where you now analyze the observations and define the core problems that you and your team are trying to solve, right? You've gone through the empathic process. You've understood the solution from the point of view of other people. But this is the point of view now where you now say, because I've understood where people are coming from, because I've understood people's problem. Now I need to now define the problem. Now this is the define stage, right? And why is the define stage so important? Because the design stage allows you to fully understand the goal of your design project. Now, it helps you to articulate your design problem, to provide a clear-cut objective towards what you're trying to build. Now, this is the stage where you define the goal. This is the stage where you've understood the exact problem from the other people's point of view. Right? This is the point where, based on the fact that you've understood the problem, you've now defined what exactly you're trying to solve. Right? One of the best practices that people even carry out is, even before getting the data set, and you feel you want to build something, you want to solve a problem. Most people are even advised, before even going to look for data sets, why don't you go into the market? The area you feel you want to solve problems on, why don't you go into that market? Meet people, ask questions, get feedbacks, put out questionnaires, get what exactly their problem is. It's at that point, when you've understood what their problem is, that's when you can now come and define the goal or define what you're trying to solve. That's the point where you can now start looking for the data set that fits that empathic problem you found earlier on. But most people just go on them. So my chairman will always say he gets his ideas in his dream when he's sleeping. So most people will just sleep, and then ideas will come up in their head, and they'll just go online and look for data sets, or they'll go on Kaggle and look for data set and download, and then start exploring the set or start defining. And that's the point you now see them trying to say, I'm trying to build a solution, or I'm trying to build an algorithm that will help people with doing this, right? But there was no point in time when you went into the market to actually decide or find out what exactly is the problem. There was no point in time when you went into the market to find out what exactly are these people going through. You just went straight to the define stage, and you're trying to solve a problem. Now, in that place, you're going to be building an AI and an ML model that will eventually fail, because you don't have an idea of what your target market is. Now, after the define stage, you now get into the ideate stage. Now, in the ideate stage is where you've defined your problem, you've found your predictable variables, you found your dependent and independent variables. Now, this is the point where you start exploring your data. This is the point where you start finding insights from the data sets you've gotten. This is the point where you start building frameworks, the point where you start building algorithms, the point where you start building solutions around your data sets that you've gotten. Now, on this slide, I listed a couple of ideas or a couple of ways people walk around this ideate stage. Now, the first one here is the brainstorming session, or the brainstorming method. Now, we all know the whole session, or the whole idea of brainstorming. Yourself with your team, you sit together, you both analyze the problem, you both sit down together and see where exactly are the pain points of these people, and then ideas start coming around on how to solve it, right? Now, that's the ideation, that's the brainstorming method of ideation. Now, another method is brainwriting. Now, the brainwriting section is more of, you sit together, yes, just like the brainstorming session, you sit together with your team, but while you're doing this, the idea is for you to record, or an individual to record all of this brainstorming session. Now, most people sit together as a team and then they brainstorm ideas, and at the end of the day, they just pick one idea and go with it without brainwriting. Now, brainwriting is the station where all of the ideas that are coming in from your data set, all of the insights that are being found in your data set, an individual is writing them out. An individual is writing them out. Now, after brainwriting, everybody now sits together again, look at all of the ideas and insights that have been gotten from the data, and then pick one. But somebody has written down all of this brainstorming, all of these ideas that had come up. Now, the next one is the worst possible idea. Now, the worst possible idea is where team members seek for the worst form of solutions in any problem. Now, the idea behind this is to boost their confidence based on the fact that you're going into a market that is going to be competitive, and you don't want to bring out a solution that is so bad that people will look at and they'll start wondering, do these guys actually think of this solution before going into it? So the team sits down and bring out the worst form of solutions anybody can come across and hate so well. And by the time you've outlined the worst form of ideas, now they're helping you to boost your confidence, and you start canceling all of them out one after the other till you eventually find out the most creative process and you run with it. Now, this is one of the ways people also work around ideating their whole business. But remember, like I said, all of this come from the data set, right? You can't be walking around ideation or bringing up ideas and bringing up insights if you don't have data sets. Now, these data sets were gotten when you went out to get exactly what the problems of these people are. After getting the problem, you now define where the problem is. You now define the solutions you're trying to solve, and then you now start bringing insights from data sets that you've gotten from those people. Now, the last one is SCAMPA. I'm not going to really talk much about it, but SCAMPA is an acronym for substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, and reverse. I'm going to go again. Substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, and reverse. For the last time, substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, and reverse. That's another form of ideation process. I won't go into that. Now, the fourth one is the prototype, right? This is where most people, this is the part people usually call the minimum valuable MVP. You've done all your testing, you've done all of the ideation, you've defined the problem, you've brought up a solution towards the problem, you've built algorithms around it. Now you build a form of a prototype. It's usually called the first or preliminary version. Now this is the version where you have to undergo a lot of testing, right? This is the version where you built an algorithm that is predicting people's loans. Good. But the algorithm you built that was predicting loans were based on the particular data sets you were given. Now, this is the point where you now start getting extra people's data. This is the point where you now start looking for data sets from different people, and you start adding it to your algorithm to start testing that your algorithm is sellable, to start testing that your algorithm has understanding of different kinds of data sets and it's not just rigid to the ones you use to train it on. This point keeps going over and over. It's a repetitive process. At this point also, one of the good things you're supposed to do is you're supposed to give out your prototypes to stakeholders to also test this thing. It's not just the team that's going to be in the testing now. The stakeholders should also test it out, try it out with their own data sets and see how far it's going. Now, by the time you've done this, the whole testing has gone, you've gotten feedback. From the test phase, the feedback you've gotten from different stakeholders, you take it back to your ideation stage, you redefine your problem, you redefine the solution, and push it back again as a prototype, you test it. By the time you keep doing this, you do it over and over and over and over. It gets to the point where your in-house team, your stakeholders have found out all the possible problems that can come out from this solution. Everybody around you, the team, the stakeholders, the friends and family that you're giving this to test, they've probably found out all the possible problems that can come out. And you have done refinements and alterations to them. Now, after doing this, this is where you've done your EDA, you've built your model, you're checking how much data sets your model can carry. Your model is supposed to be able to stand both small and medium-sized data set, and if possible, big data. Your model is supposed to take all of these things. After this whole test process, which is, I usually say it's like a circular process, it goes over and over and over and over again. You then implement your projects. Because you've done your in-house testing, you found out all possible solutions, implementation comes in. And implementation is pushing out to the market. The market now starts to do their own work. The market now starts to test your own model. Your own model now starts to speak for you. Even in this implementation stage, you're still going to find out certain problems from other people, because it's not possible for your team to find out all of the problems that are there. You're still going to find out other problems from outside people. But once these people are giving you feedback, you're taking it back to your system and you're reworking on it. You're taking it back to your system and you're reworking on it. But yes, this is the 6 different stages of design thinking for a data scientist. You cannot skip one stage after the other. Every stage has to be followed. Remember, like I said, any data scientist or AI engineer who has a poorly designed user experience, your model is going to fail, because you're not building for people. You're eventually building for yourself. You're eventually building for your own, based on your own initiative, which is not how you're supposed to be carrying out your building. As much as we invest a lot of time in our business problems, our data and our algorithm, our model, all of that is good, but you must understand the point of view of the people you're trying to solve this problem for. If you don't, you end up building a model that is beautiful, that has good accuracy and precision and F1 score and all of that, and yet there's nobody that is using your product because you did not initially find out who exactly your target market was. So at this point, I'm going to pause, and I think this is the end of my slide. If we have questions, you can ask while I listen.
Okay, so the floor is open for questions. Let's go ahead and ask questions. So I'll just tell you my experience right now. I'm about to dial in to my phone, at the same time connect with my laptop. But it seems like dialing in with one's phone into a meeting seems to be more efficient and clearer. But if you're presenting, that would be difficult. So please, the floor is open for questions. Let's have your questions. You could type them. I'll be looking out for them.
Okay, are we typing or are we just asking?
You can ask.
You can do both. You can do both.
Okay. Mine is not really a question. Mine is this. Can you, okay, well, it says, can you take us through building a solution, right, from start to finish using design thinking? So run through all these steps, right, and just give us an example. It can be a personal example. It can be a well-known example of a popular solution. I just need you to walk us through all this from start to finish with one use case.
Okay, so I'm going to use the popular loan system, because I believe that's a popular algorithm everybody's trying to build, right? So now, so the first time I worked with a loan system, I just picked Kaggl's data set, and I quickly started doing my whole EDA and exploration and prediction, and then I predicted some variables, and it was good, right? And then my models at least had a good amount of accuracy and all that stuff. But then when I came into the fact or the understanding of design thinking, I decided to do another credit system based on a personal project. Now, what did I do? The first thing I did was I decided to make a few calls, a few guys that I knew that worked in the banks. So I had to make a few calls. The first thing I asked was, first thing, okay, so yes, I got information from Twitter. I think this man that owns Iroko TV, I've forgotten his name now. So he was complaining how he
Jason
requested
Njoku.
Jason Njoku, yes. He was complaining how he requested for loans for 6 cars. He wanted to get 6 cars for his employees, and he requested for loan from the bank, and he was rejected. So at that point, I was wondering, Jason Njoku is a popular figure. Iroko TV is a known brand, and he has a reputation he has built for himself over time. Even if you don't want to look at his own reputation, at least he's married to a popular movie actress. She has her own reputation to keep. I don't think these people would be interested in wanting to sell their name. So why would the bank not give him loan? Is it that the bank is saying he doesn't have money to pay? Or the bank is saying he's not going to pay back? Or the bank is saying 6 cars is too much. He doesn't have that kind of money to pay. So I now made a few calls with guys that I know that worked. I think, Ayo, if you can remember, I had to call you at some point to ask about this loan thing with PwC. I don't know if you can remember. Right, so I had to make a few calls to guys that are in the loan system, and I had to find out how exactly are they doing their loan calculations. Now, I found out 2 things. There's a judgmental-based system and there's a manual-based system. Now, the judgmental-based system is based on, they employ some credit risk experts, and the credit risk experts, based on features that he has collected from your form that you filled, the credit risk experts will now analyze your data set. They probably have your data set from the credit bureau system, from the banks, your BVN and all that stuff. Then he'll now use his own credit risk experts systems to analyze your data. Now, this is judgmental. It's based on one person or a group of persons' expert knowledge. Now, the second system they also do is an automated system also. Now, but you find out that a lot of them, the automated systems are usually some form of third-party applications, right? They don't have fixed in-house ML AI guys that are constantly working on this process. They just try to look for third-party guys. They go to the credit bureau system, collect your data sets from the credit bureau systems, and they analyze your previous credit history and all of those things. Now, I now looked at all of this from the standpoint of a lot of these things are not well solved. They are still done manually. A lot of these things are still worked on systems or algorithms that are not even yet updated. And then I now still made another call to a friend in GT. That's when he now even said, GT Bank, they are trying as much as possible to employ in-house teams to start checking their credit systems, because they are noticing a lot of failures in refunding in non-performing loans, right? At the same time, I went online, I researched on the data set, and I found out that Nigeria as a country is losing trillions of naira every year on non-performing loans. So the first thing is I've understood from the empathic point of view of the bank, right? Now, I decided to call a few people that I know that have gone to collect loans before and why they've been rejected. And I found out from their own point of view, you find out that the system does not trust their cash inflow. The system does not trust their collateral, whatever collateral it is they are building. Now, understanding both scenarios from both the banks and both the individuals, as a data scientist, you then find a middle point. And the middle point is now saying, why don't you build a system that would help these banks analyze these things better? The whole AI and the whole deep learning and the whole machine learning, a lot of algorithms that can help you do this. So why don't you prove to them that they are doing it better? Now, at the same time, for the customer's own point of view, who is informing these guys around their loans? Who is giving them, is there any system that has better loan information, or is there anybody that is advising them on how to keep their loans going or keep their loans in? There's nobody. So I've understood and I've been empathic from the bank's point of view. They don't want to lose money. I've been empathic from the individual's point of view. They don't know if they are credit worthy enough to request for the loans that they want.
Yeah, makes sense.
So Jason Njoku, in his own case, doesn't know, or he was not aware of his credit worthiness. He does not know if he's somebody that is worth 6 loans from the bank. Even with all of his money that he's making, even with the company that he has, he was not aware of that information. The bank itself, I don't know if they have enough information or data sets from this man's annual income or revenue or turnover as a company, and even his personal businesses. I don't know if they have that information. So 2 different coins, the banks, Jason and Joko, I've been empathic from both people's point of view, and then I'm trying to bring up solutions to help them solve their problem. Now, what most people would have done is they go to Kaggle and pull up data set, and they'll build loan prediction algorithms and build loan prediction systems, and then host it, and then go and get licensed to collect loans from from the government, and then they've opened their own micro lending house. There are too many micro lending houses in this country, yet everybody is still suffering from this thing. Why? So this is the point where the team now has to come in and think of ideas to solve this problem, because you've understood different people's point of view. Yes, Kingsley, I see that. So I'm not supposed to say this anyway, but I think I will. We're going to be solving that problem very soon. Myself and my team, we're going to be solving the problem of credit scoring very soon. So keep your fingers crossed, and I hope you'd push us out when we come out in the market. And so the team sits down and ideates the problem around this thing. And once they do that, they start testing their model and start building. And then after you've done a lot of your tests and you've confirmed your algorithm is perfect, then you go into the market. That's the process for a loan prediction system. As against the general view that a lot of people will just go on Kaggle, download data sets, build a system, build their own licensing house, and start giving people loans. The people you're even giving loans, how are you sure that your own system is perfect enough to also solve the problem that everybody is facing, right? So I don't know if I've answered that question with this example.
Sure. Very well. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have other questions? So, like I said, I'm going off in and out, but I'm also signed in using my phone. So when you see my screen go off, it's because my network, Spectranet, is failing me at the moment. But MTN still seems to be consistent on my phone. So any other question?
Sorry. Hello.
No, go ahead.
Yes, hello.
Yes. Good morning. My name is Babatunde. This is my first time, joining this conversation, which I think is great. I'm really happy. I think I've learned one or two things from Mr. Bayo. Thank you so much for doing that. Well, it's just my question that, sorry, do you have a Telegraph group?
So we have a WhatsApp group. I've shared on the chat. I've shared the link on the chat for the WhatsApp group. I would send it again.
Yes.
Just have been going off and on.
Okay, so we don't have a Telegraph group at all.
We don't know. We don't have a Telegram group. What we have is a WhatsApp group.
Okay, no problem. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
So I'll share.
Okay, please, I have a question.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. From Bumi, you are saying that the companies, the financial organizations now have a problem in giving out their loans to individuals or those people that would want to get it. Now, if what could AI do? Like, in what I want to know where AI is standing in between, because actually the individuals need to meet up to the demand of the financial organization so that they could be able to collect this loan. I don't know. I'm trying to understand the place AI is going to stand in, or like you said, he's trying to work with his team. I'm trying to understand where they are trying to stand in to make this incorporation realistic.
So me telling you this is like me shooting myself in the leg. This is a project we are working on, so I don't think I'm willing to share that information. But at the same time, this is where the ideation stage comes. You have a team. I'm sure everybody in the team have different knowledge or ideologies of how the system works. I'm sure ideas can come around. There's no fixed, that's the beauty about the whole AI thing. There's no fixed system that works for a thing, right? So I was doing some, when I was doing the whole coronavirus update thing, I was trying to do some clustering, and I found out there are like over five different clustering methods that people can use. Initially, I did not know they were up to that number. And then, funny enough, the material I was even using still indicated that there's still more than 5. There's like a whole lot, but they restricted me to just 5. So there's no stock up model or system that works for these things, right? But like I said, if you want me to be sharing how I'm doing my own or how my team is doing my own, I'm shooting myself in the leg. So the best thing is maybe you pay for consultancy fee and we can consult for your team if you are building something similar. That's all I can say.
Okay, hello, this Bayo. So I think I can speak to this. The reason is I've worked in a bank. I work in an oil and gas company now, and I also work as a data scientist. I've worked both as an IT practitioner in the bank and at the same time at the back end. So I'm going to share my screen briefly. I know I'm struggling with my network. If I can get it up and running, I'm going to share my screen. I want you to. There's something I'm sharing now. It's called the McKinsey's AI playbook. I don't know if anyone of us is aware of it. It's McKinsey's attempt to give us a sense of how AI and analytics can impact different industries. So if you can see my screen, please let me know.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
You can see my screen. Yeah, so what are you seeing on my screen? Is it design thinking you're seeing, or is it
design?
The design thinking process.
Okay, the design thinking should go now.
It's design thinking we are seeing.
Okay. Just hold on, please.
Okay.
Is it change? It should change now.
No, it's not. It's still the same.
It's still the same thing. Please hold on. So what you can do is just keep in mind, it's called the McKinsey's AI playbook. What's happening? So you could actually use the internet and check it out. Let me make one more attempt. Please hold on. Let me just make one more attempt and find out. So can you see my screen now?
No.
Not yet. So you are still seeing design thinking?
Not yet. Yes.
Yes.
Design thinking is still showing.
Okay, so what I'll do is for those of us on the WhatsApp group, I'll just go ahead and send the link. Okay, now, okay.
You can now see your screen.
Okay, so I'm going to share it now, right away. At the same time, I put it on the WhatsApp group. You should be seeing it now in some few minutes. Yes. So it's called the McKinsey's.
Yeah, we are seeing it now.
Now, this
we are seeing it now.
Yes, this gives you a sense of what McKinsey as a research body feels AI and analytics will do across industry. And this is an attempt, it is not perfect, but it's a guide. So I'm going to deliberately go to banking. I've not looked at banking, so let's just see what McKinsey is saying. So if we click on banking, and so it comes down to marketing and sales, risk, HR, finance and IT, other operations. I think loans should fall under risk. So let's see what is in risk.
Okay.
So we have fraud and debt analytics, we have risk modeling. And basically what I'm showing us this is that AI cuts across your entire value chain, any business you're doing, whatever industry you're in, AI, there's a place to apply artificial intelligence or machine learning. And that's why it's important we understand the problem. So what should be the driver should be the problem. So I'll speak from my organization, for example. I know in time past, we've not been doing design thinking like in detail. However, as an organization now, design thinking has become very important because what we found out is it's very easy to build a solution that, and this is me speaking for myself, so please don't quote my organization. This is Bayo speaking from my own experience. It's very easy to build a solution that does not solve the user's problem. And so first is understanding what is the problem? What are we trying to solve here? What are we trying to do here? And what design thinking affords us is to spend enough time to understand the user, to appreciate the user, to see from the eyes of the user. So if, let's take for example, so sometimes also you can also be a user. So there's some classes I've attended that tells you that you need to talk to like 30 customers. But sometimes the product you're trying to build might also be your pain points. So you are able to see what the problem is. But it's good to find out how many people are impacted, how many lives can be touched, what value will this create. And that's why I think design thinking in this age and time is very important. When you listen to men like Satya Nadella and the likes of them, you see there's so much room for empathy, trying to see from the eyes of the customer and then walking through that process. The other thing again is design thinking is, what I would like to call it, iterative. It's not, I move from empathy to define, then from define I move to ideate, then I move to prototype, test, and implement. It's not that, it's not a steady flow. So sometimes you go back and forth and retool what you're doing. So let me just speak something from my own experience working as a data scientist. So before we go into any data science project, 3 things for us are important.
Please, quick one, please, Bayo. Is this figures? Is it worldwide or just this McKinsey figure? Is it worldwide?
So, so I will be speaking. So based on McKinsey, this is McKinsey's research. This is their own worldwide. Is worldwide. McKinsey's, but I can tell you, looking at the oil and gas industry already, I can see some aspect that McKinsey didn't cover. So if you look at the oil and gas industry, for example, the core oil and gas, that's the upstream, is not covered in this slide. So if you are familiar with oil and gas industry, there's the upstream, there's the midstream, and there's the downstream. We have supply chain, we have market and sales, other operations. You see that the business of getting the oil out of the ground is not even captured. So I will tell you that in my own opinion, what McKinsey has done is not even adequate or comprehensive enough.
All right.
Okay, but remember this is their own research, and as they get better at it and have more information, they can go in. So one thing I want to just quickly add, since you brought me back to this, is if you go to any of these solutions, so you want to do this, you can drill down to risk, you can drill down to fraud, and it will even tell you some data types. The slide will come up now. It will tell you some data types. It will tell you what kind of technology you can apply, what kind of problem, what kind of technology you can apply, what kind of models you can build around it. So it's something on your own you may want to go and investigate and see how well. And you can do that across the different industries that we have there. So, but let me go back to design thinking. So the reason why we are doing this today is we want to understand, we want to start from the problem. Sound of Music says, let us start from the very beginning. Models are good, but understanding the problem and how the user will consume the solution you build is very critical. If all your model ends up in Jupyter Notebook, you know, nobody can access your Jupyter Notebook. Those are questions you need to ask yourself from the very beginning before you start. Else one will struggle along the way. So I'm opening the floor again. Your thoughts, if you have experience in design thinking, remember this is a meetup where all of us come and learn. We're learning together. Share your thoughts, share your views. If you have challenges, if you have concerns, let's have your thoughts. And I have one question for us all. So the floor is open for us. Should I assume that means no question? Let me see if there's anything in the chat.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead. Your question.
Okay, you know, in one of the meetups by Father Hunting.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, I can hear you.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I don't know about others, but I can hear you.
So I have a question. Are you with me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so when it comes to design thinking and testing the app, so there's some things I would like to emphasize on or ask question about, sorry. So when it comes to testing the app and people are testing the app, so are they testing the app based on what the input should be and what they feel the output should be, or like, is there a more, how would I put it, a more quantitative approach to it, in the sense that what our approach is used in testing it? So did you get my question?
Yes, I get your question. So what kind of approach is used in testing? I'm going to hand over to Bumi, but test can be very ambiguous when it comes to software engineering. You know, we have unit testing, we have black box testing, we have user acceptance testing, and there are several things.
Yeah, there's regression.
So I think Bumi, we need to speak to us. So when we say test, are we talking of user acceptance? For developers, as you build your software, is it unit testing? What are we talking about here? So Bumi, please.
Okay.
Hello, Bumi, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay,
all right.
we are listening.
All right. So this particular question is usually a very funny one, because so there are two areas I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at the fact that your product or your system, you're going to be giving it first of all to the in-house team to test. Now, because of the fact that the in-house team has a full form of documentation, there's going to be a followed process for them to test your product. But by the time you push it out to the market for you to get feedback and test, there's usually a problem between user experience and initial product definition. Now, most users, in some cases, go the extra mile of even doing unnecessary things that are not intended for the product, right? So this thing is in two ways. If it's for your in-house team, they are testing, then there's supposed to be a full form of documentation. Now, what my company normally do is we have in-house testers. Now, the in-house testers, before they take the product to test, there's a whole documentation including that is indicating what the product is about, the input of the product, the output of the product, what you expect from the product. Now, based on all of this documentation, that is what they are going to test on. Now, the extra thing that they now do is they go the extra mile. They still test for the same thing, but they then use more data sets than what you have provided. Now, for instance, if I'm building an application that says that requests for people's email, now I might have built the application and then it's getting people's email. But the in-house tester would test with Yahoo Mail, test with Gmail, test with both mails that are fake and that are not real. They'll test with both mails that don't exist. Mails that are they'll probably join some names like ldsmeetup@yahoo.com. They'll test all of these extra things. Now, normally when you were doing your product, you initially indicated for mails that are working. But these guys will go the extra mile and do both mails that are not existing, both mails that are real, both the ones that are working, both the ones that are Yahoo Mail, both the ones that have been blocked by the platform, by Yahoo platform or something. They'll do all of these tests. But that's the in-house team. They're following your documentation and they are going extra mile. But if you now get to the market and you want the product to be tested by the market, then trust me, you cannot exactly get what people will do with your product. What most people now do is have at the back end a user story that shows some form of data table indicating how people are using your product. By the time you're looking at your user story, you're looking at how people are taking hold of that product from one point to another. Then that is how you decide to now, you can now choose to tailor your product to suit the need of different people's project. Or if you notice it's just random testing and they're not even really doing anything serious and it's not a core need for the project, then there's no need following that over approach. You can just let it go. I don't know if I've answered the question.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have answered the question. But yeah, I was talking actually more in terms of an ML solution. Yeah, like probably just testing it when people are testing it in-house, and hope they're not testing it to make the app the model overfit and things like that.
Okay, so can I speak to this? So what I want to say is this. So there are different levels of testing, and very importantly, ML is a part of a big picture. AI cannot stand on its own. machine learning cannot stand on its own. At the end of the day, it should be part of a big picture. Now, let's use what Bumi has just talked about. You could actually architect your solution in such a way that you are sending out, doing A/B testing with your users. You're showing them two different front interfaces. They are capturing. As your solution is in the wild, you're actually capturing data, and then you're using that data to refine your work and get better. And that's why I say that data science, AI, can cut across your entire life cycle. And that's why it's important at the very beginning. We want to ask ourselves, what problem are we trying to solve? You want to engineer with your solution in mind, with your end in mind. There's a way you can engineer your solution that becomes the problem to even maintain and support. Now, back to your model. So when we read our textbooks and we do training data and test data, that is just to validate your model in the lab. That's just testing so when I mean the lab or your machine, is my model fit enough to go into the wild? When it goes into the wild, you need to also design a way to monitor it, because sometimes the data you have to test may not be a true representation of reality. So you need to design and architect your solution in such a way that you are monitoring the performance of your model. Now, if it's just basically decision of don't buy or sell, buying and selling, that might be easy. But imagine if it's a decision on whether a person is a corona patient or not. Imagine the impact if your model does not get it right. So you have to have a way of continually monitoring your model to ensure that it's still working within the design limits. So at the moment it goes out of design limits, you would know. Again, that cannot be done in just your Jupyter notebook. You have to architect this from the origin. And that's why we are deliberate about having this conversation around design thinking today. Because we want to start with understanding the problem. I think it was Stephen Covey that said, start with the end in mind. And that's why we're doing this. So, so separate testing for model testing, training and test mode is completely, is a subset of this. It's not the testing we're talking about here. We're talking about testing the solution you have built. Yeah, remember it's design thinking. A user has told you he has a problem. You are trying to solve that problem. You are testing with him to validate that that problem he says he has and the solution you provided, they match and agree. Your model can be a subset of this. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Hello, do you get me? Hello?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so someone said, can you share level of importance or focus for each of the 5 stages of the design thinking? So I'm reading this out. So can you share the level of importance, which is most important in each of the 5 stages of design thinking? We once had Father Unsi, who's an authority on Zindi, once indicated that domain knowledge development and ideation can take 60%. What do you think? I think, Bumi, you can see that question. It's sent to everybody. So I think I'm leaving the floor, but I don't do all the talking. So from your experience, look, if you've done project management before, this is just pre-project. This is another pre-project management. This is helping you to define. There's something you call your project charter, if I'm correct now. This helps you to define your project charter, as it gives you clarity on what are we trying to do here. So we all have a sense and understanding of this, but this just being systematic. So please share your experience. What do you take? What's your take on the question that Kingsley has just sent out?
Okay, so the question is, share your level of importance or focus on each of the 5 stages. Father also wants indicated domain development. And now, the truth is,
someone is typing.
Sorry, who is that?
Hold on. I think I'll find it now. Okay, so go ahead now. Go ahead.
So the truth is, one thing I try as much as possible to speak against is people becoming too conversant with everything at the end of the day, not knowing anything. Now, if I am a financial person in the bank, I'm working in the bank, I'm going to have better form of domain knowledge about the bank system compared to some tech guy that wants to build a financial solution. We all get that. Now, but it's the responsibility of the tech guy to make sure that two things. One, he has a financial person in his team that is constantly talking about how it really works outside the market. That's the first part that you can follow. A financial person that has, because the truth is you can't build something in the market without knowing exactly what it is you're building. You can't, like Father used to say, you can't build something without understanding or having a domain knowledge of what you're building. But then, would I say because I'm not a banker, I don't work in a bank, I won't help the bankers build a financial solution? No. Would I say because I'm not a doctor, I won't find out AI models that can help solve the coronavirus case? No. But what can I do? One, I can have an in-house doctor in my team that is constantly educating me and the rest of us on how we can go about the project. Two, I can go and research. Now, research is where I now have to start understanding what exactly is corona, how corona is affecting the market, where is the corona coming from, what are they? Now, all of that, if I do not have the knowledge of a doctor as a person, there's no form of research that would be enough for me to actually say I am 60% firm in this thing before I go into it when I'm not a doctor. Now we had this nurse that came in from, she was a nurse and then she came into the data science field. Now if herself is going into a solution for the corona case, it's very easy because she has a background knowledge of nursing. She has a background knowledge of medicine. She can easily work on it. But do I now say because I don't have the knowledge of nursing or medicine, I don't have 60% domain knowledge, then I won't build solutions for them? No. So that's where you have someone like her or a doctor in your team. That's where you also go into research. Now, as regards which process is more important than the other, I'm not going to attach any level of importance to one over the other. They are all important. But as Bayo said, they are not followed one after the other by a must. It's not a must thing, but you follow this before this, before this. But every process must be joined together. It's like a whole thing. So it's just like you saying, I want to build a website. Is the front end guy more important than the back end guy? Or I want to build a website. Is the UI UX guy more important than the front end guy? You can't build a website if you don't have a good UI UX already in place. You can't build a website if you have only the front end and your back end is bad. You can't build a website if you have only the back end skills. You're going to need front end, you're going to need UI UX. So everybody plays a part, every process plays a part as a whole. There's no process that is above one or the other. But most importantly, in line with the domain thinking, you have to have a knowledge of what field you're going into. And there are two ways, like I said. You either have an in-house person who has this domain knowledge and is constantly with the team while they are building, or the team decides to go into research. And I can tell you, there's no amount of research that you go into, except you're willing to spend a couple of months, probably even years, on research alone. If not, there's no amount of research that you go into that you'll be as strong in terms of domain knowledge compared to someone who spent years in school reading that course or that field of study. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Are we clear? I see your response here.
The, for me, the app just went out and I have to come in again. Hello, Gumi.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I said I didn't really get what you just said, like because I had to join the meeting because it went off. I think my network is having this issue.
All right, so I'm saying there is no fixed stage that is more important than the other, right? But in line with having domain knowledge as a data scientist, and you want to go into building a product around that domain, there are two things you'd have to do. Now, the first thing is either have an in-house person that is building, that have an in-house person. Probably if you're looking at the coronavirus case, have a medical doctor in your team, have a health practitioner in your team, have someone with knowledge on microbiology or all these viruses and all that in your team, right? That's the first part. Now that person has all of the domain knowledge that you need. That person is starts with the responsibility of going on research around that field that you and the team is intending to solve problems in. Now, another thing is you can decide, okay, I don't want to have an in-house person. I want to have my own domain knowledge. The truth is, for you to have knowledge that is going to be enough for you to now say, I am a practitioner or I am 60% knowledgeable in this field I am going into, it's going to take you a couple of years. Now, do I say because I am not a doctor and it's going to take me a lot of while to understand viruses and how viruses work and all before I start building the problem? Will I say that's what I would do? If I'm doing that, then a lot of us AI engineers will end up not building products for people because our field of studies in the sciences. And by the time somebody has a problem around education or somebody has a problem around medicine or somebody has a problem around insurance, we saw what Bio was sharing now, even the oil and gas, if I'm not a petroleum engineer. So because I don't have knowledge in petroleum engineering and all of the upstream and downstream whole thing, will I then say, if there's a possible solution I can solve to make the world better, I won't do it? No. But what do? I go and meet someone like Mr. Bayo that has a knowledge on that field, sit with him, and we start analyzing the situation together. It's going to be a better approach than for me to say, I'm going to sit down first to read and understand the whole of petroleum and how it works. That is going to take me years of understanding before I then start designing my project. By the end of that time, you find out that somebody had already built something similar and is already out in the market and you're late. So the best approach as regards domain knowledge is have someone in-house, someone that understands that problem already, someone in the petroleum space. Have that person in your team. The person is constantly working with you around revamping your project. Now, as regards finding out which focus or which stage is more important than the other, is ideation more important than? Personally, I don't think one is better than the other. Everyone works hand in hand. I cited the example of the website. You need a UI UX person for you to build your website. You need a front-end person for you to build your website. You cannot employ a front-end guy and openly tell him that you feel the back-end guy is more important than he is. He's going to walk away from your project. And if he walks away, you can't build your project because you eventually still need him. So if his going off would affect your project and your project won't come out, then I don't think it's right for you to tell him this person is better than him or this person has more importance than him, or you want to focus on this person more than him. Everybody have their own importance and have the ways they play. As regards ideation, one thing I feel is you don't come up with an idea, build it and push it out in the market and stay with it. That's the reason why companies and businesses and models are advised to constantly follow innovation. Bringing up ideas around one business never stops. It's something that the team has to keep going over and over, even if you're already out in the market. Right, so you look at the banks, for instance. I'm sure the banks never had intentions of wanting to do all they want to do today. Now you see you can get loans in the bank. The banks now are going into AI chatbots. The banks now are going into saving of gold and treasurable materials and things that you have. The banks now are they are doing a whole lot. Yeah, so nobody starts with one idea and stick with it and push it out to the market and go and sit down. That's why this whole design process thing, when I started talking initially, it's iterative. It continues over and over. Even when you've gone out, you're still coming back to your ideation process to think again. You're still coming back to test what you've thought. You're still seeing if that new thing you want to add to your business is worth adding to. You're going out to test it, to see people's reception about it. You're still understanding people's problem about the area. After all of this test again, then you come back again and add it to your model. You push it out. You come back again and start checking feedback. So it's a whole process. There's no, I'm going to do this one and let this other one stay away. It's a whole process. But like Bayo said, it doesn't have to be followed rigidly. You don't have to say, the first thing I'll do is empathize. After empathize, no. It's a circle, but you make sure you're following that circle and doing the right thing for the betterment of the project you intend to push out. I don't know if you understand.
Thank you very much. I think that Yusuf says he has a question. So let's hear your question and then we'll move and then we'll hand over to Ayo. Please, if you've not filled the attendance register, attendance form, please go ahead and fill it. That's what I'll be sending out to Deep Learning AI to get back to you on vouchers and the likes.
Okay.
So can we have your question?
Hello. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay. I just want to know if actually there is in data and analytics framework there are some processes which include discovery, insights, action and decision, then the outcomes. I just want to know because in the stage of discovery there is what you call define the problem. We then come up with developing a hypothesis before we now move on to the collection of data and the exploration of data. And I saw that this goes somehow in line with what Bumi said concerning the design thinking idea for data science or something. So design thinking, is it the same thing or different from what data analytics framework is? That's my question.
Okay, so let me try.
Are they the same or different?
Okay,
thank you.
Let me try from my own experience. So quickly, when there are different frameworks. So Informs has its own. There's I know of Informs. There's one. What's happening now? There's this popular framework for data mining. I think CIPM DM. I can't remember now the pronunciation. Crips DM. Yes, that's it. Crips DM. But what I want to say is this: what we're talking about here is the big problem. Your model is just one part of it. So we want to build a solution that would help people buy a house. Now, what does that solution entail? What is important to the people? Do they care about where the house is and the likes of it? Now, part of it might be a model that will tell them the amount a house is and the amount to be in the next 5 years. Now, that is one of the, at this level, we're talking about the big problem itself, not just one part of the problem. So we're talking of what is the problem we are trying to solve at this point. So when you say discovery, when it comes to data science framework, basically your discovery is really around data. What data do we have? The data I have in-house, is it enough? Do we have some on third-party systems that we can connect to? What's social media data? How valuable is it to this work I'm doing? But this is not on data. This is on the problem. I hope I'm not causing confusion. I don't know if someone else can explain better.
At all.
Okay, so we'll move to the next step, which Ayo would facilitate, which is after Module Millers, and I've sent the video. I apologize, it came out quite late. First, I had challenges with not being, as in going to work in a remote location. Then Ayo provided me guidance on how to trim down the file. And even with the link that's gone out, so that video is very big. We will try and see how we can solve it. For this one, the moment this is done, we'll have the recording. This is all in-house. So we'll have already the presentation slide is out. Please don't forget to the attendance list. And then secondly, before Ayo speaks, is after Module Miller's talk, it became very obvious to us that we can all keep at that, I'm learning. And even after 1 year, we will still be learning and we will not have done anything in particular. So the direction we are hoping to go going forward is to make our work project-based. So we have a problem we are trying to solve, and then we look for all the competence that is required to solve that problem, and then do learnings on those competence, and then we'll solve the problem. So that's the direction we are going. So I'll hand over to Ayo to go ahead. And I've seen 3 hands raised up. I know Ibidak was raised up his hand. If you have something to say, you might probably say it now before Ayo speaks. Then I'll hand over to Ayo to speak. So Ayo, are you still there? You are muted. Hello, Ayo, you're muted.
Yes. Hello.
Okay, go ahead, Dapo.
Yes, thank you so much. It's a great day being with you, Sam. Please, I'm new into Python, data science, and stuff like that. And I've been trying to get some books online, get some videos too. But I'm not still flowing like that. So I don't know, is there any link or material that I think it would be very easy for a user? Because actually, I'm an ARP person. I work with Nav and here. So, but I know that Python is the how would I say the next
Hello, we can hear you. So yes,
okay.
so you're asking for the source.
Within the next few years, nobody will Python will be the one that everybody will be using. So that's why I want something that is any link or what's the advice for a beginner like me, what I can do, that will really help me, sir.
Hello, I'm back.
Okay, Ayo, go ahead. I think Ayo, you can answer that question on the source that you can use.
No, sorry, I didn't get that too. I had to log out and log back in. So what's the question?
Okay, please ask your question again, then Ayo will take over from there. Yes, Mr. Sorry, my question is this. I'm a new person, I'm a beginner. You are using Python, data science, so because I'm an ERP person. I work with Nav and EX. But the way the world is going now, in the next future, everything will be Python, data science. So as a beginner, what's your advice? Which materials or links or materials or something that can advise me to read so that will be very helpful, sir.
Okay, so my advice would be to actually run through a structured program, and there are quite a number of them. There's one I'm also still going to talk about, but there are quite a number of them, right? And the whole idea behind running through a structured program is because there are so many areas within data science, right? And there's a lot of misinformation out there, such that if you're not careful, you keep learning and just keep going in circles, right? And so that's what I'm saying. It needs to be some form of structured program. So there are various structured programs. There's AI Saturdays, there's Tech Nidos, there's, I think Data Science Nigeria also has something, right? And so the reason behind that is beyond just learning, there's also a community, an active community, right? In which you'll be able to ask your questions and you'll be able to get some form of guidance from. Also, because of the approach we're now taking to the LDS meetups, right? We'll also be providing some learning materials and all that, which you would find helpful. However, the difference between joining any of those programs and what we'll be doing is the fact that ours is more project specific. And so what I mean by that is we'll have a project in mind, and then based on that project, we would identify the competencies which are required,
And then based on those competencies, we'll develop a learning plan. So the reason why that will probably not be enough for someone like you is because it's project specific, there are certain topics we might not cover. Do you get? But if you join any of those programs, it's very likely that you would actually be able to cover at least the key concepts which need to be covered. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Sorry, thank you. Yes, great.
Yeah, so I'll still talk about those programs much later before I end my session. Yeah. Okay, so all right, so hi guys. So good to have everyone in. And Bumi, thank you very much for that session. I've been hearing so much about design thinking, and you know, I'd always wanted to take a course on this, or at least do some form of reading, because it seems to be gaining a lot of ground and prominence these days. Yeah. So, but I think you did a fantastic job, and thanks for, you know, enlightening us and sharing your thoughts around this. Okay. So in terms of how we plan to structure this. So one of the things me and, you know, Bayo had to speak about after meeting me, Omar Jamila, was the fact that we realized that, could you share some of, oh, okay, sorry. There was a question. All right, so we realized that, you know, we didn't want to get into the whole learning cycle. Keep learning, and, you know, you're not applying what you're learning. Right. And for those of us who were, you know, on the call when we spoke with Jamila, one of the things she talked about was, you know, talk is very cheap. It's very easy to just keep organizing meetups and speaking and talking about this and that, and really you're not making any progress. Right. So what we then had to do was we had to think around how to structure this such that beyond just learning, we're able to apply all the concepts we've learned into meaningful projects. And the truth about it is, data science is an applied field. Data science, artificial intelligence, all those fields are applied fields. They're fields in which, if all you're doing is learning and you're not looking for ways to apply what you've learned, there's a very high likelihood that those concepts will not be fully grasped by you. Right? So what we've now done is to say, okay, let's identify projects. Once we identify projects, let's identify the competencies that are tied to that project. Once that is done, we'll then identify, you know, we'll then be able to train people in that line and be able to eventually execute the project. So one of the things which, you know, one of the ideas which we came up with was something around analyzing Google traffic patterns. And this actually came because, you know, I realized that it's easy to get data around traffic patterns across the world. So a lot of people don't know that, but it's actually readily available. So Google gives, so on every Google account, every Gmail account, you get $300 free worth of free Google services. And the whole idea is you can actually use that to sign up for Google's API that tracks traffic. And so what that means is in real time, you can track traffic across various areas within Lagos, and it's quite accurate. So it's similar to what you do with your Google Maps. The only difference is now you can automate it. Now, so this is something I had actually done sometime back in 2018, and it worked quite well. But at the time when I did it, I didn't necessarily have, I didn't know much about design thinking, and I wasn't really thinking about what problem am I trying to solve. It was really just around, oh, we can collect data, let's analyze traffic, and let's have an output. But there was really no, you know, angle of saying, okay, what's the problem I'm trying to solve? What am I trying to make better, and all that. And that's something which we would have to do, you know, following Bumi's thoughts and teaching today. So the first step is we want to analyze traffic. There's data available to be able to analyze traffic, but the question we need to ask ourselves is, what kind of problem are we trying to solve? And we'll have to use design thinking for that. Now, once that is done, we've been able to identify the various competencies which are required for this. Now, one of the first critical competencies is obviously machine learning. One of the second ones is you need to be able to set up. So usually when you run your scripts, you need to set up scripts using the Google services, and those scripts need to be able to run automatically on their own. Sorry, is everyone with me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly, very well.
Okay. All right. You need to be able to automate the process of gathering, that traffic data. So for example, you might say, I want to gather data between 4 a.m. every day and 9 a.m. So between 4 a.m. and 9 a.m. every 5 minutes, I want to gather data of Bagada to VI, Lekki to VI, Yanopaja to VI. I want to gather that traffic data. Now, you can't be running your Python script every 5 minutes. It doesn't make sense, right? So you need to be able to automate that process. And to automate that process, you need to deploy that script on Google Cloud. So one of the competencies will be learning how to set up Google Cloud, learning how to sign up for Google services, right? So that's the second. So I said machine learning. I said the other one. So let me backtrack a bit. So the problem, one of the things which we just thought about, which is subject to change based on the design thinking class, is Google gives you an idea of what the traffic is right now. But Google doesn't necessarily tell you the best time to leave your house or the best time to leave your office, right? So we're saying if we can gather data and do analysis around it, is it possible that we may be able to predict for people? So I say, oh, I'm staying in Bagada and I'm going to my workplace in Lekki. Can you tell me what's the best, and it's a Monday, can you tell me what's the best time to leave my house so that I can be in less than 1 hour of traffic, for example? So those are some of the things we've started to think about, but we can further fine tune it. And so that's two. The third skill which we're looking at is then we're saying you need to be able to visualize data, right? So when you're doing the analysis, you need to be able to visualize and see where are the peak periods, where are the off-peak periods in terms of traffic and all that. And we're saying, okay, you probably need some form of Power BI visualization tool, Power BI Tableau, most likely Power BI, since that seems to be more popular in this side of the world. We're also saying time series, since traffic is also based on time and all that. Is that something is that a competency we can start to learn? We're saying also TensorFlow for deep learning. Is that an area we can look at? Right. So pretty much that's the idea. And the idea behind this is we want to be able to run this for the next 3 to 6 months. And at the end of it, we're saying we want people to have improved their competencies. I forgot to add that we'd also do a crash course in Python, because we understand that a lot of people are still new to this. And we'll also do a crash course in, basic data science, really, so that everyone is on the same page for this. And so that's the approach which we would like to take. Before I go into the second part of this, I want to know if we have any questions. Hello?
Hello, do we have any questions?
No, there's no question actually on one end. You are talking stuff that I've been thinking about, because I personally have been on a journey also for data science and Python. I've enrolled some courses, but I actually in the community where I can relate to, where I can communicate my own problems and difficulties and ideas. So this technical development is
okay. All right. So, hello? Hello. All right. So, so let me now go to the various learning options, and then I'll talk about a few other things. So for the person who asked, so like I said, there's Data Science Nigeria, there's AI Saturdays, and then there's TechNidos. Data Science Nigeria runs various programs during the year. The most popular is the bootcamp, which they run around October, November every year, which is a five-day bootcamp, all expense paid, where they bring various experts to come and teach. But before that bootcamp, they usually run like a 3-month online course and competition, right? And the whole idea is, after running that course, it will give you an idea of the basics of data science. You also apply that through competitions, and then the winners of the competitions eventually make it to that bootcamp. I know usually that 3 months online course comes out around, I think it's May, June, July. So that's one option. The second option is AI Saturdays. However, with the corona situation, I'm not sure they'll be holding any classes right now. But AI Saturdays, the whole idea is 16 weeks in class training. You follow a very structured curriculum, and it's every Saturday. So between, I think it's 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. or 6 p.m. Yeah, so that's it. But like I said, for now, because of the situation in the country, I doubt they'll be holding any classes. Now, the final one is TechNidos, and TechNidos is completely online. And the whole idea is it's a structured program in which you can learn from the comfort of your home. It's actually a 6-month program, but the 6-month program is broken down into 3 modules. And for each of the module, you're learning something different. So there's a certain module where you learn about machine learning and data science, core data science. There's another module where you learn, Python. There's another module where you learn things like Power BI, working with data and visualization. Then you'd actually do a real world practical application, right? So that's the whole idea. And TechNidos next cohort should be open by middle of April. So you can just keep your eyes peeled for it. You can follow the TechNidos_NG on LinkedIn and on Twitter, right? For more information on that. So the way it also works is before the 3-stage program that takes 6 months, that takes actually 5 months, there's a 6-week pre-selection stage where you learn Python, you learn math, you learn the basic statistics. And based on that, you'd write assessments. Based on the output of the assessments, you either move into the program or you try again in the next cohort. And so that's the idea behind it. Also, riding on that, the TechNidos is also organizing a challenge. Given the fact that everybody's sitting at home right now, we have a lot of time in our hands. It's organizing a challenge, but the challenge, okay, so for the one I first talked about, it's for anybody who is, new to data science, wants to learn data science. That's the TechNidos Fellowship. That's for anybody. You don't need to have any background knowledge of anything. Just come as you are. But for this second one, which I'm talking about, which is a challenge for everyone who is staying at home at the moment, it's the whole idea is a lot of times, even when we're talking about applying our knowledge and skills in data science, is mostly to competitions, Kaggle competitions. But the problem with Kaggle competitions is a lot of times it is not, it's not too close to reality, in the sense that, you're not deploying any solution. The data is already pre-made for you, and a lot of other things, right? So with this challenge, the whole idea is we're saying, can you should be able to gather your data yourself through skills like web scraping and the likes. We're saying beyond that, you should be able to also deploy your application yourself. Because in a Kaggle competition, all you're concerned about is accuracy. Am I rising up the leaderboard? Am I doing well? Am I not doing well? What we're saying is, no, you should also be concerned about, the output. Does it meet the user's requirements? So same thing, Bumi, was talking about, does it meet the user's requirements? And those are the kind of things you should start thinking about. How do I deploy this such that people can actually interact with it, right? So, and that's what this is going to be about. So the participants will actually be deploying a real world application, and they'll also be showcasing it. They'll be taught how to set up, GitHub, and how to showcase their works and all that on that during the challenge. And so the challenge is quite selective. Like I said, it's for people who already know data, have some form of background in data science, have some form of knowledge of Python, right? And are just seeking to, develop something that they can actually showcase as a project. right? So it's going to run for just 2 weeks, starting from the upper week. Promotional materials should be out by next week, but it will run for 2 weeks, starting from upper week. And it's just going to be one project. And at the end of it, people would actually be able to showcase what they've done, right? Through links to a web application which they would have built, right? A basic web application which they would have built, which will have an ML model in the back. And then the top 2 participants would also get, vouchers for the deep learning course, because it's actually a partnership between TechNidos and Lekki Data Science Meetup. So I don't know if there are any questions, please.
Please, hope I'm allowed to join. Oh.
Yeah, it's open to everybody. But like I said, it's 50 people, and it's.
Where am I hearing Bumi? Where am I hearing Bumi again?
I have a question.
All right.
Okay.
Hello. So you mentioned about this platform, TechNidos, right?
Yes.
Can you spell that for me, because I don't really get the
TECH.
C8.
TECH. Tech. Technology. Tech.
Yeah, technology. Yeah.
Tech. Then
yeah.
NIDUS.
Okay, LIDUS.
NIN.
Okay,
N for nose.
Okay, TechNidos. Okay, I got that.
Yeah, you can follow the TechNidos_NG. Just follow on LinkedIn.
Okay,
and you get more information.
LinkedIn. I'll get more information there.
So
okay,
the next cohort should be open by middle of April.
Middle of April. Okay, all right.
Yeah, so you just need to register. Yeah.
Then coming back a little bit to your talk on design thinking, I just want to make sure that I fully understand what you have said all along. You've mentioned that it's just very important to have a good knowledge of the algorithms you're going to be deploying to build your model. But let's just start from the basics. All right. For example, you're trying to make a common beauty soap, the normal soap we use to take a shower and everything. Okay. When you mentioned about empathy, okay, how people are actually going to be feeling about that product. Okay, what makes that product unique? Okay, why is it okay if it's rough? Then maybe it's going to be a downside to that particular product. Maybe it's not, beautifying enough. Is that what you're trying to say? Like, people responding to that particular product,
All right.
the way
so let me
with this, right?
Let me jump on this.
Okay.
I like the soap example. So
okay.
Now you've already built the soap.
Yeah.
And you're now trying to get people's view about it. Now
Yes,
that's not empathy.
Okay.
So in that case, you've already built a product, and if eventually people are not interested, you've done a whole lot investing in that product that it has failed.
Okay.
So empathy is the first question you should ask yourself is, why do you want to go into soap making? Now,
Okay.
is it that a lot of people, the soap that they are using at the moment have issues? Is reacting to their skin.
Okay.
So you go and you do some study of the soaps that are in the market. Understand how it's affecting a particular selected group of people, right?
Okay.
Now, you now go to the point of probably even doing survey and ask them, so because of your soap, how do you feel if somebody else is bringing a different soap that has this thing inside of it that can help your skin in this area and in this area? Do you think it's something you'll be interested in wanting to do? Right, so you have to understand why you want to go into soap making. What's the soaps that are already in the market? Why people are using it, and what exactly would make people want to move from that soap to another soap? Yes, is it because the new soap has some form of chemicals that will turn you from white to black, or I don't know, whole thing? And that's the whole empathy process. But if you build the soap and then you're pushing it out in the market to now say, how do you feel about the soap? No, at that point you've wasted resources.
Exactly. Yeah. So it should be before you build the soap, before you build the product, then you consider empathy along the line.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, LBL.
Okay. Thank you for that question. Very importantly, the reason why we are doing this is for us to understand from the very beginning. So right now, we're not assuming you're even trying to solve your problem with machine learning. What problem are we trying to solve? does it represent, is it a problem the users that want to consume it are intended in solving? So thank you, Bumi, thank you, Ayo, for all the questions that have come in today. Thank you very much. So we're going to the next stage. Interestingly, so for those of us who are joining us for the first time, this stage is actually to have people who have been a part of the meetup since January to do a report out on how they've learned, how they've grown their competence, and and the journey so far. It is not so much about what project you built. It's more about what your journey is. So quickly, let me just say for everyone, interesting, the only person I only have one person today who has sent me a slide. And we have 2 books, one for a guy and one for a lady. So automatically, I don't know what, except someone sends me a slide now and tells me it's presenting, then maybe that will work. You're losing my screen. So I'm joining from both my mobile phone and my laptop. So we'll go to that, we'll have that state. So let's see, hold on. So these are the 2 books we're giving away. So the person presenting now should just go and do Thanksgivings. Since no one presented, no one is presenting after him, except someone speaks now. Already, he has one of these books. I know.
I want to present.
Okay, so Bumi, because you spoke, because you facilitated a session today, I have a different book for you, but it's not machine learning. So,
all right.
So
No
it's Satya's book on It's Refresh. I think it would help you understand why Microsoft is becoming what they are today. It's Satya's book. It's his own. It's a form of autobiography about his life and how Microsoft has evolved and where they are going to. So please, awesome. You have it. So that's, and then the other thing again, and that's why I think, and someone said, this is a community where we are sharing and growing our competence. So for the next person presenting for Bumi, there's a free voucher, 100% free voucher to go and learn. We're all at home. So that means in 1 month, you can finish the awesome. Courses that you've not finished. So I'm handing over to Yusuf right now to make his presentation. I don't know, Yusuf, will you present, because I realize that my screen is going off and on, and so my laptop is the one going in and out. So when you don't see anything, it's my laptop that's gone off, but I'm on the phone. So will you rather present, or should I present on your behalf? And then every one of us already have the slide. So in case you miss it, you just go to your chat, you can download the slide already. Every one of us, we all have the slide. So since no lady is presenting today, we still have 1 book left for a lady. So let's have Yusuf take us through his journey. So Yusuf. Yes, I'm sharing your slide now. Go ahead. The floor is yours. Okay, you will present. Would you like to share your slide? Okay. You're muted. Thank you, so unmute yourself.
That's okay, except I connect to my system.
No, don't worry. Go ahead. Let's use this. So this
in
is
case if there is if the line. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm waiting to see the slide.
Oh, the slide has gone off again. Hold on. This is what. So what I can suggest to everybody is to save us time. You already have this slide sent to you. You already have it in the chat. I've sent it as an attachment. If you're on the WhatsApp group, you also have it on the WhatsApp group. So in case you lose me again, you can just go to that slide directly. So I'm sharing again because I think my internet is
let me open the slide from my system in case.
Yes, open the slide on your system too. So if you have your 1-page slide, 2-page slide, please come and present. We have 100% free vouchers to give away today. And we don't know as in who to give it to. Remember what Ayo said, what Omojimila said.
Okay.
We have to move to action. As in, we can gather together, talk for 1 hour, but this thing takes more than 1 hour. And if we can grow our competence, then we can add a lot of value to ourselves and to the nation. So we'll be reserving our vouchers. Right now, I think how many vouchers have gone out? Bumi, Yusuf, 2 vouchers out. So Yusuf, the floor is yours.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, the first slide. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I'm here making to make a presentation on my data science journey and how it all began. Okay, the next slide. Next slide, sir.
It's coming up.
Okay.
So everyone can also change the next slide on their own machine while we are doing the same.
Okay. Okay. So I think the next slide should be showing my presentation outline. And that's, I'll be running through the introduction and the background information about myself, what actually got me motivated and how the journey began. Afterwards, I would now like to move on to the core points that has to do with aiming point for 2020, what I currently know and how I arrived at the point, lesson, challenges, conclusions, and the recommendations. Okay, next slide. Okay, next slide. So as per the introduction, when it comes to progress reports, this is very, very important because the whole essence of a progress report is to ensure that one keeps track of performance. And it is like a performance evaluation in workplace. And it's just like monitoring our progress isn't actually enough. We have to back it up with action. And this is a very, very vital thing to take good note of. Now, background information about myself. My first degree was in applied geophysics, and I'm almost completing my second degree on petroleum geophysics. And what actually got me motivated is, hope I'm not too fast. Hello? Okay.
You're good.
What
Go
got
on.
me?
You're good.
Okay. What actually got me motivated is my curiosity. So the curiosity to learn new things. And that's why I put up this quotation from Albert Einstein that says, the most important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existence. So I'm always eager to learn new things, even outside my own field. And this has given me enough confidence that coming into this data science is not going to be an investment I will regret. So now, how it all began. Actually, my journey towards data science started while I was running my master's program. So I noticed that while during the program, I actually, while I was making research, like I said, I love making research a lot. So during the program, I was into blockchain technology, Bitcoin. I need to understand the basics of Bitcoin itself, and I've got to realize that blockchain is the technology that backs this. So I was now thinking of how to link this, whether Bitcoin or blockchain, with my geoscience. I was looking for a link. So now I was able to find this link, and I realized that all geoscience data, such as seismic data, that is geophysics or geologic data, whether it is related to earthquake or petrophysics data or drilling data, or even be it well logs data, everything can also be stored based on integrity and security of the information. It can be stored on a blockchain. So that, link come into my head. So now from geoscience, I moved on to blockchain technology. And later on, after I discovered that blockchain deals actually with data integrity and data security. During my research, maybe mistakenly, I came across what is called data science. That was actually how I discovered data science during my research. And also I could remember there was a time I put up for a course on IBM Academy. I did a course on blockchain technology. I got a certificate. And even on the other side, that was when I now got exposure to what data science is, because I saw a lot of courses. I was like, oh, I think I will need to take some of these courses. And I saw AI and things like that. So that's how it all started. Now I've now found a connection between my geoscience, which is my domain knowledge, blockchain, and data science. And I'm thinking of how to bring everything back into my domain field. So now, my aiming point is actually to strengthen my basic knowledge. Next slide. My aiming point is to strengthen my basic knowledge of mathematics, statistics, data analytics, and data science, as well as machine learning, in order for me to be able to apply them to geology or geophysics, which is my domain knowledge, in order for me to become a competent geophysical data scientist. Because I've come to realize that there is a school in one of the schools in America that offers a course in geophysical data science. And everything they will be doing is integration, full integration of data science and geophysics. So, and what are the things that I currently know? Geoscience. At least I'm still learning, actually. But now it seems to be losing interest. Not totally, but although due to non-availability of quality training, although they are there, but they are too much expensive. But I've now realized that, okay, data science, you can learn a lot of things online, although you still need some physical training. So I got exposure into, I took a course on data analytics from PwC. I'm also undergoing some courses with KPMG. I got my certificate from PwC like 3 weeks ago or so. I started the course around January and I did a project. So at least somehow I have some strength in data analytics, and I'm still trying to improve on this. Also, introduction to data science, I also currently understand that, as well as machine learning and big data introduction. Also the same thing, like a course I took on IBM Academy, IBM Cognitive Cloud Computing Basics. Now, how do I want to arrive at my aiming point? By taking more courses online that has to do with statistics and mathematics for data science and machine learning. And also I need to understand better about SQL as well as big data analytics, because every data science, every data that I'll be working on in data science requires a database from which you can be able to pull all these integrated data from. And I think I'll be taking courses on IBM Academy and other sites, with respect to that. Also, advanced data analytic courses, I'll be working on all these and presently working on that actually. And I think I also presently, I just completed a course with Data Science Nigeria. And those areas in which I will be focusing more on will be in terms of the data cleaning and visualization, presentation, the storytelling skills, business domain, the communication, and as well as the coding skills, that is Python specifically. So like I said, I just concluded a course with Data Science Nigeria on machine learning with Python. I also participated in Kaggle competition, although I still believe I need to further on improving my skills, because I'm still thinking of using machine learning in my master's project, which is something related to seismic or so. And because this has a means of, it has application in terms of well optimization, petroleum field development, and things like that. So, and the lessons that I've learned, as well as challenges, include the following. I noticed that data science is not just about machine learning or ability to use certain programming language packages, but having the understanding of those underlying theories, as well as the tools that one needs to use and why one needs to use them. Why are you using this tool? One has to understand that, and that's one of the lessons that I've learned. And timing, a lot of distractions, there is information overload. Too many information are available there online, and one needs to plan properly in order to be able to cut off this load of information that are coming from every angle. And also another challenge is non-availability of power supply as per this country. So my conclusion and recommendation is that the journey towards data science should be properly planned and focused in order for one to be able to eliminate all forms of side distraction or information overload. And also, data science is actually not as simple as most of us think. The starters, data science is not that simple. it is meant for somebody who can take a whole lot of time into studying, learning, and putting all these these skills into practice, with practice. Because if the sacrifice could be made, then it will make one to, it will be a great investment for anyone who would like to make his journey a reality in this present year we have. And it will be a very good decision because of the future. So I think this is where my slide and presentation ends. And one thing I need to mention also is one should be very passionate. Like I mentioned previously, what motivated me, my curiosity, my passion, and things like that. Curiosity is very important, because if you're not curious about it, if you don't have passion for anything, then there's possibility of not achieving and ending up with anything. Like the whole essence of this training is for us to learn something, instead of saying, okay, doing a lot of presentation, meeting out there without putting up projects, then you might end up not achieving anything. And meanwhile, passion is very important. And fear of missing out in terms of monetary gain and all of that, all of this properly needs to be taken care of. So thank you very much for listening to my presentation.
Thank you very much, Yusuf. I think we just open up. Thank you very much. I think most importantly, about this. Someone is saying that, go ahead.
But sorry,
okay.
I did not see his model or anything he had built over time.
Yeah, so interestingly, the truth about it is, if you all of us on the WhatsApp group, I didn't say your results, I said your efforts.
Okay. Yeah.
It's funny, but so what I've noticed is a lot of us.
So that's what I worked towards.
Yes, it is effort. And really, so if someone had come in and done the presentation, and Yusuf, don't, as a leave me alone. The criteria was your effort or your journey so far. So the truth is,
and not the result.
Not the result. That doesn't do with your result. So if someone had come in and done a presentation on AI for everyone, which he had gone through, that would have also, then the whole house would have been, all would have done was sit down, we all would have joined and picked who the best person was. Now, one thing I want to say, so what I want to say for all of us is, nothing ventured, nothing gained. It's important that we don't forget, nothing ventured, nothing gained. I know we've talked about the African Masters in Machine Intelligence program, and I'd like to repeat, it's closing on the 15th of April. Don't be your own judge. Apply. Don't judge yourself beyond bounds. Go ahead and apply. And then let them determine whether you win or not. You might just be the only person that will apply. That's one. So please, and I think it's a lesson for all of us. We are in a community of over 100 of us. These messages have been going out. And so it's not so much about, it's really about the effort. And then presentation is part of the competence the data scientist must have. So to even summon the courage to present your work is to make yourself vulnerable and susceptible to questions and challenges. And that in itself is a big effort that will be rewarded. So your book is available. So I still have one book on my shelf.
Wow,
and
that's interesting.
to be gender fair, we'd have to keep that for a lady. Let's hope the lady comes. So Sandra, I know you're on the call, so you might just plan to make a presentation and take this book from me. I'll be grateful.
Sir, I hope a drone will deliver the book right to my doorstep.
So we'll have to work after the book will be delivered. Let's see if we find if we have logistics company going around, we might just be able to push the books out. So the books will be delivered.
I wouldn't mind coming today or tomorrow to get the book. I wouldn't mind coming today or tomorrow to get the book, because I can't wait. But having a hard copy
Calm down
actually
now.
knows my
Yusuf.
interest. So I said,
Okay,
yes.
Yusuf, okay. As in, let's talk after this meeting. Let's work out how you get your book.
Okay, there is no problem.
The book is yours.
Okay,
The Bumi will not
thank you
get
so
it.
much.
And you also have a free
Sorry,
learning
but-
voucher.
Okay.
So I think at
Okay.
this point, so basically, let's have feedback. So one of the biggest feedback we've had, and I know it's a lot of work on us, it's a lot of work for us, is please push this thing out as much as possible. More people will be interested. Let the information go out. So speaking with Ayo, one of the things we've said is going forward until we get, is it clear what they call it? We would stick to our meetups virtually. That's one. Going forward,
Okay.
we would so we'll go ahead and schedule the meetings just last Saturday of the month, and the meetups will be a touch point because, like Ayo has said, by next week we'll be sending out the details on the competition that is ongoing, and I'll tell you, take it on. There are a lot of things you would learn. I'm looking forward to several things. As much as I've done GitHub in the past, Git and GitHub in the past, I'm not sure I've done it so rigorously. I'm hoping that from this, I will do it. It would be nice to see how all of us can collaborate from one GitHub location and people are pushing in their work. For me, it's the learning experience that is most important. So I personally will create time to be involved in it. So please, let's do that. And because now we have our dates clearly defined before us ahead of time, we have our dates clearly defined before us, that would make it easier for us. So we'll do this competition again because right now we have vouchers to give away and we don't know how we're going to give them away. Except there's a solution to that. I don't know. We have vouchers to give away. I want to find a reason to give those vouchers away. So please give us a reason to give those vouchers away.
Okay.
So let's have your feedback before we round off. Feedback, comments, advice, counsel. Please, if you've not registered, the link is showing on your screen. Please go ahead and register. And those that have won, your vouchers will get to you. The moment I send out the details to deeplearn.ai, they will send you your vouchers. That's Bumi and Yusuf.
Okay.
You'll get your vouchers.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yusuf, your book is with me. Bumi, your book is with me.
Okay.
So,
no problem.
we can see after this and talk about it.
Are they lasting for just 1 month?
What? So the vouchers are just 1 month. But what we've noticed, so we have last meetup, for example, 10 free vouchers were given away, 100%. So what I noticed was having us to, so before that, we were giving every one of us 50% discount for vouchers. The truth is, nobody was using it. That was quite painful. Nobody was using the vouchers. So I had a conversation with them and they said, oh, they can give us 10 vouchers every time we meet. So the last meetup, it was the first 10 people, and that's why Sandra sent out the first 10 people that filled the survey got the feedback survey, got the free vouchers. The first 10 people. This time, what we're doing is, we want to move, and I also hope that for every one of us that have these vouchers, please use them. We can make a case for that we need resources to learn, we need help with our internet access, we need this and we need that. So please, also, yes, Sandra, I see your message. Let me put on screen. Some of these things are also time bound. So please, the moment they get it, just go in. Now, many of us are at home. Go use your voucher. With 1 month voucher, you can actually finish like 2 specializations. AI for everyone is a 9-hour course. So you can finish that one. And so let me tell you how I do my own online course. I try to speed it up a little. I don't do one. So I go to the speed. I increase the speed to like 1.5 or 1.25. Because sometimes if I can focus on it, even if they are speaking faster, I can hear them. So I can actually reduce AI for everyone to a 6-hour course instead of a 9-hour course by increasing the speed. So please, now, Sandra, please, let's try and see if we can give out more vouchers. I'm going to be, so please, the ladies on the call, please just send me an IM now, as in, just identify yourself as a lady on the call, and let's see if we can give out vouchers to the ladies on the call. Gentlemen, please don't come after me. let me quickly apologize now. Please don't come after me. So Sandra, please, who else is on the call? I'm here, Mr. Bayo already. I'm already here, Mr. Bayo. So I've seen Sandra. Who else is on the call?
Daniel.
So, Daniel is not a lady. Daniel is a guy.
Mr. Bayo, I have something to say. Like
Okay,
when
go ahead.
we are talking about Daniel, because it was resolved.
I'm not hearing clearly.
When we are talking about the challenge, for me, I was thinking it was resolved. That was why I know the game.
Okay, so there's another challenge. Okay, there's another challenge coming up that Ayo has spoken about. Let's see if we can get more vouchers into that challenge. And 100% vouchers into that challenge. And then we would give out as many as we can. So the goal at the end of the day is for all of us to learn and not just impact our personal lives, impact our own life. Do you understand me? So not just impact our personal lives, impact our society. The health sector obviously has a big lacuna now, and there's even money going to solve some of those problems. So please, would give as many vouchers as possible. Someone said vouchers for first timers. Then what would happen to? So we are more than the vouchers we have cannot go round. If it will go round, sincerely, I would just say you would have all the vouchers. So what we'll do is we are going to publish. Let's see. I'll talk with the other volunteers and see how we can get some vouchers across. Well, so right now, the only person I have on the call that is a lady is Sandra. Do I have any other person? So I believe I don't have any other person apart from Sandra. So Sandra, Ayo, Yusuf. So Sandra, Yusuf, please just send me your email address or addresses, and then even if after this meeting, send it across so I can share them with deeplearning.ai. I hope so. Let's have feedback now. What's the experience today?
We send it. How do we send it?
Send an email. So I'll give you my email address. Just send it. So I'll give you my email address just now. So please, let's use the vouchers this time. And let me show us something. One thing I like about this meetup, though it's few, but let me show us something. Pardon me. I'm going to show us something here. So if you look at this we're seeing right now, can you see my screen? Not this. Yeah. So you see, let's go down. So it shows that we're making progress. In previous forms, when people fill these forms, we see that the trainings are completely zero. But right now, there are people that are taking deep learning specialization, there are people that are taking AI for everyone. So we're making progress. So please use the vouchers. Please use the vouchers this time. So if we can demonstrate that the challenge with the vouchers that they are too expensive for us, then we can probably put in more requests and request more opportunities. Do you understand me? But until we demonstrate that we are using these vouchers, it will be difficult to ask for more. So feedback and questions. And if you want to get in touch with me, go ahead. Your questions, maybe for you soon.
The remaining textbook, how do we get it?
So what I can assure you, Sandra, is that the book is going to go to a lady. Okay. The criteria, I don't know, but maybe I'll talk with Ayo. We might bring the book into that challenge. I will give it to the topmost lady in that challenge. This is me thinking out loud. That might be
sorry, Bayo, sorry, I didn't get that.
I said for the challenge that's coming up next week, we might throw the book into that challenge for the lady that has the highest performance.
Part of the presentation now.
Okay. So okay, we can let's take that offline. Bayo, let's take it offline.
Don't worry, we take it offline.
Let's take it offline.
Sandra. So you know our exam is there's a criteria. And we take the criteria. But Sandra, you already have a free voucher now. You have a free voucher. All right. So please feedback, questions, and then in the next 3 minutes we'll round up. Feedback, opportunity, what we can correct, what we can get better at, recommendation, what you'd like to do for us. We'll take it now, please. So I hope you all enjoyed that. So please, the feedback form will also be going out. Please provide feedback. It helps us try to get better at what we do. And it's a community. That's what I want to remind us. It's a community where every one of us, we're bringing our skill set to the table. I think the question we should ask ourselves is, what can I do right now to help the nation? Nigeria as it is, our billionaires are doing, and some of them are doing fairly well. The Boa Group, the CEO, gave us he did not just pledge, he gave us like ₦1 billion yesterday. So ask yourself, what can I do for Nigeria at this time? And yes, it might be, we might have a lot of people to blame for one thing or the other, but ask yourself, what can I do? What can I give back? It can be to the community, it can be to a friend. Please, in these times of challenge, call your friends, know how they are doing. Out of sight can be out of mind. And I wish us the best. I stay safe. I know we'll go through this and we'll all come out strong and better and use the opportunities that we have now. Might be a good time to learn and get better at what we do. So gentlemen and gentle lady, enjoy yourself. Have a blessed weekend ahead.
Bye.
Okay, please, you have your number. If you have any feedback, you can send me a WhatsApp message. You can call me. And then I'm going to share, the last I will share is if you're not part of the LinkedIn group, I'll send it to you. I'll send the link out now. So not the link, the WhatsApp group. I'll just put the link out once again. So you could just use that to join and enjoy the rest of your day.
Hello, Adebayo. Sorry, can I get your attention on something?
Yes, go ahead. I'm with you.
Please, sorry, some of us are still not on that WhatsApp group. Actually, tried to join that group for a long period of time, but I've still not been able to do so. Can you do something about that?
Okay, so hold on. So I've sent the link out to us right now. Please try again, or let me see. Or you can send your number to me. I could go ahead and add you to it.
How can I send the number to you? Okay, you have a number I can send to you?
Yes, 080.
Can you call out the number 080?
Okay, so hold on. Let me type it out. It's 080-33455031.
Okay. 33455031.
Just send me a WhatsApp message and I'll send you the link. So I hope we all
I'll do that
today. I think I learned a lot.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, we did.
Thank you, Bumi. Thank you, Ayo. Thank you, Yusuf. And thank you, everyone that found time to be part of this. Have a wonderful weekend.
Let's see the first time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bumi.
Have a nice day, guys.
Yeah, Bumi, thank you for the procedure.
Bye. Great presentation. I really enjoyed it. Let's keep it up. Well done, Bio and Ayo.
Mr. Yusuf, Daniel,
guys, later.
And later, after you finish writing,